because we have been through a lot together. You and me and you. First, there was Trump Yaoi. Then, there was LeBron. And then, there was Trump Yaoi. But, it came true. And here at Neatopia Incorporated, we do not take these things lightly. Because if nothing else, what are we? A family! No, serious. I think that you guys deserve something to commemorate everything we've been through together. So here it is. The Political Yaoi Dating Simulator Love Pairing Master Diagram with evidence. Here it is. When you look at this master diagram, you might notice a few things, okay? You'll notice that on the right, all of these politicians, except for Erdogan, these are all domestic routes. And on the left, these are all international routes. And the order that we are going to go through the routes is pre-Biden, which is Trump's first term, Biden era, which is during Biden's first term, and then post-Biden, which is Trump's second term. Now that you're briefed, let's start. First, let me do a recap for all of you who are just getting into the Political Yaoi dating sim. The Political Yaoi dating sim is centered around our main character, the 47th president of the US, Donald Trump. Here are some important things to know about Donald Trump. So first of all, Donald Trump is an Omega. This is important information to retain for later. Donald Trump equals Omega. Number 2, Donald Trump is both a tsundere and a yandere. He has both tsunderish and yanderish traits. Finally, he wants a harem ending.
I'll kiss every guy, man and woman, man and woman. Look at that guy, how handsome he is. I'll kiss him. Not with a lot of enjoyment, but that's okay.
An entire harem ending. Now that that's established, let's start getting into the routes. Our first route, the legal one. Legally, Trump is married to Melania Trump. However, roll the evidence. So as we just saw in the evidence, Donald Trump and Melania Trump are actually in a secret lavender marriage. They are best friends who decided that this shared legal binding between them would be beneficial for both. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give them a special lavender color. So that's the first route, the friends only route. Our next route is somebody who has been in the news quite a bit recently. Jeffrey Epstein. Him and Trump are in a love relationship. Now, you might be saying, Lumie, how do you know this for certain? Don't worry, I'm gonna pull it up on screen for you. This letter that Donald Trump allegedly, that I have to say by law, that Trump sent to Epstein. And now I'm gonna read it out to you. There must be more to life than having everything. Donald, yes there is, but I won't tell you what it is. Jeffrey, nor will I, since I also know what it is. Donald, we have certain things in common, Jeffrey. Jeffrey, yes we do, come to think of it. Donald, enigmas never age. Have you noticed that? Jeffrey, as a matter of fact, it was clear to me the last time I saw you. Donald, a pal is a wonderful thing. Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret. Donald J. Trump, and then he signs it. Let's address the elephant in the room. Yes! This is super freaky. Now let's address the second elephant in the room. From Donald to Jeffrey, using specifically their first names, not their full names, like Trump does with a lot of his routes, their first names only. We can therefore assume that as much as he might like to deny it, Epstein was probably one of Trump's original love routes. Now, unfortunately, this route might never be confirmed, unless the Epstein files are released completely unredacted. But the chances of that happening are very low. But a route that is confirmed is the route between Trump and Bill Clinton! According to this Epstein file right here. So I'm gonna read this Epstein file out to you guys too. On Monday, March 19th, 2018 at 1:49 p.m., Mark L. Epstein wrote, "How are you doing? A while back you mentioned that you were pre-diabetic. Has anything changed with that? What is your boy Donald up to now?" Jeffrey E. sent Monday, March 19, 2018, 2:15 p.m., so the same day, just a little bit later, hey, all good, Bannon with me. Then, Wednesday, March 21st, so this is 2 days later, at 4:32 in the morning, Mark Epstein writes, Ask him if Putin has the photos of Trump blowing Bubba. Ask him if Putin has the photos of Trump blowing Bubba. Bubba is a widely known nickname for Bill Clinton. And when this craze was going on, there was one person who was denying this. Mark Epstein, aka Jeffrey Epstein's brother, aka the other person in the file. And the only other Bubba that existed was Ghislaine Maxwell's horse, and Ghislaine Maxwell worked with Jeffrey Epstein on the Diddy stuff. So people were implying that perhaps Bubba could have been an animal instead of Bill Clinton. However, I think that Mark Epstein might have been saying this because he didn't want people to ship Bill Clinton with Trump because he was in love with Trump. So we're gonna dot the lines here. He might love Trump and he might hate Bill Clinton. Next, Bill Clinton has a confirmed relationship with Hillary Clinton. Trump and Hillary are rivals. So Hillary and Trump, political rivals. This is the first ever PYDS love triangle, but after Trump got elected, this fizzled out. And then Trump started getting with real solid domestic routes. Actually, Mike Pence, his vice president. But Trump's relationship with Mike Pence was complicated. In the beginning, when Mike Pence and Trump first came together, Mike loved Trump and Trump loved Mike, right? It was a love-love relationship. But as time went on, Trump started becoming neutral to Pence. Why? Because he was busy playing with other routes, international routes, and he started neglecting his domestic route until a new political rival appeared, Joe Biden. So suddenly, Trump was all thinking about Biden. And this was really bad for Trump because at the end of his first term, he started saying that Biden had won the election unfairly. And he was pushing Pence to say the same thing because he assumed that Pence loved him. And Pence did love him. But after all of the neglect that Trump showed him, pushing him to the side for international routes, Pence decided, no. He didn't want to be treated like this. He didn't want to be Trump's second choice or third choice or fourth choice or fifth choice. No, he had had enough. So Pence said, no, Trump, Biden won the election fairly, which made Trump mad. So when the insurrection was happening, Trump said this, that Mike Pence didn't have the courage to do what should have been done to protect our country and our Constitution. When Pence was stuck in the Capitol while people were outside rioting, which made it dangerous for Pence. And Trump did nothing about this because Trump is a yandere. If he can't have Pence, if Pence doesn't love him anymore, then nobody can. So Trump and Pence kind of have a love-hate relationship now. Pence hates Trump and Trump loves Pence, but also kind of hates Pence because it's the yandere in him. But then Trump lost. So Pence was no longer his vice president. Trump wasn't the president. Instead, there was Biden. And I feel like this one is pretty self-explanatory, right? They were enemies and then they became lovers and then they went back to like enemies again. So instead of just rivals, they're now ex-lovers. And if you don't believe me, just look at these. Here are Trump and Biden in front of the fireplace, looking lovingly into each other's eyes. Here are Trump and Biden dressed very smartly, almost holding hands. They're interlocking pinkies underneath the shirt. You just can't see it, but I know they are. Here's them debating. Everybody knows that they tend to debate. That's one of their favorite pastimes with each other. Here's Biden looking at Trump sweetly and lovingly, and Trump is holding onto his arm. They're just sharing a moment with each other. Here they are looking at each other sweetly and lovingly again. Finally, here's a picture of them laughing with each other in front of the fireplace. They had a pretty good relationship. Now, they had a lot of banter and they argued with each other, and it was definitely a little bit toxic, but everybody knows that Trump is an Omega. He likes that type of toxic relationship. I told you it would come in handy. And the thing with Trump is, even today, he is still not over Biden. Here is his Truth Social post from yesterday, where he says, the chart below shows a clear chronological pattern. Trump 1, almost no inflation. Biden, runaway inflation. Trump 2, low inflation. Media conclusion, Trump's created an affordability crisis. Even today, he still cares about Biden. He has pictures of Biden Cut out on his phone. He has stickers of Biden's face. If that's not love, I don't know what is. But that doesn't change the fact that they are still ex-lovers. Okay, next route. After Biden went out of office, after the Biden era was over, Trump moved into a new era where he found a substitute for his old vice president Mike Pence in J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance actually used to hate Trump, and then he learned to love Trump. But the thing is, Trump does not feel the same. Trump hotel chairs him every single time there's another route. All JD is left to do is just watch. Trump treats all of his vice presidents the same. He treated Pence this way, and now he's treating Vance this way, where he pushes them off to the side until he actually needs them. He's kind of ignoring him, but it's neutral. Here's a picture of them when Trump was still into him. If you look at any of the following pictures between any presidents where JD is in the background, Trump is like here, JD is like here. Okay, Trump is here, JD is here, and JD's like, no, give me attention. And Trump is like, and then he doesn't even pay attention. But these were all the presidential routes. Now we are going to move on to the next season of domestic routes, the billionaire routes. First, everybody knows that Trump and Elon Musk are ex-lovers. They used to have a great relationship, but then they broke up. But recently, they were seen again together at Charlie Kirk's funeral, where Trump said in an interview afterward that he was glad Elon came over and talked to him. So here's the clip.
Mr. President, everyone's saying that Charlie brought you and Elon back together. Is that true?
Well, Elon came over and said hello. And, no, it's nothing to do with that. I thought it was nice. You know, he came over, had a little conversation. We had a very good relationship, but it was nice that he came over.
So I think that even though their breakup was so bad and they were both hating on each other, Elon was talking about how Trump was in the Epstein files, it looks like they made up. And now they're ex-lovers and friends. Next, Tim Cook. So obviously, Tim Cook was giving Trump his sugar baby fund, right? Tim Cook was saying that Apple was willing to invest in the government a certain billion amount of dollars. And during this time, Tim Cook gave this to Trump. He gave Trump this glass plaque by Apple, symbolizing that Trump was the apple of his eye. And here's a picture of them almost kissing. Look, they're almost kissing. So obviously, Tim Cook and Donald Trump have a love relationship between each other. And just like with Tim Cook, it is a very similar thing with Zuckerberg. Play the clip.
I don't know, at least $600 billion. Sorry, I wasn't ready to do our for announcement.
He said I wasn't
sure what number you wanted to go in.
Zuckerberg is the pet route. He aims to please Trump. So obviously he and Trump are in a love relationship where, again, he is offering a sugar baby fund, but he's willing to give his Omega any amount of money he wants. They're an Omega on Omega love, by the way. Next, we have this random Michael Huckabee. I already have a video on this, so I won't read it. But Michael Huckabee basically says he loves Donald Trump so much, and he is so glad that he has a Donald Trump in his life. But what's important is that Trump said from Mike Huckabee, a pastor, politician, ambassador, and great person, he co-worker zoned him. Huckabee loves Trump, but Trump is neutral towards Huckabee. And then lastly, our final domestic route, the most recent route, Zoran Mamdani. Now, everybody has seen all of the Mamdani pictures. Here's an example of one of them that Trump photo dumped everywhere. Trump was so smitten with him that he told the press this.
Would you feel comfortable living in New York City under a Mamdani administration?
Yeah, I would. I really would.
Why? Because Mamdani would make him feel safe. That's the Omega in him. All he wants is a safe, comfortable nest where he can snuggle up with somebody like Mamdani. Because as you can see in all the other routes, even though Trump is an Omega, he's pretending to be an Alpha all the time. That's why he needs his heat suppressants, and that's why he said that Tylenol causes autism, so he can hoard all the heat suppressants, and he can pretend to be an Alpha more often than not. But now that people are still taking Tylenol, he doesn't have any heat suppressants. And if he doesn't have any heat suppressants, he can't suppress the heat, so he can't suppress the way he feels about Zoran Mamdani every time he's around him. So Trump obviously loves Zoran Mamdani. And the thing is, Mamdani has called him a fascist and stuff like that in the past. So I would say Mamdani hates to is neutral to Donald Trump. And this might be in part because Mamdani has a wife who he is very loyal to. So here's another confirmed route. Mamdani and Rama are in a confirmed marriage. And I forgot to mention, but Mamdani is also the hallmark route. This is because they grew up in the same small town, New York City, so they can relate to each other on that level. And at the end of the day, there is nothing that makes Trump more comfortable than something familiar, because he is an Omega. Okay, and that completes our entire domestic route side. So with this, that is every single domestic route that Trump has ever explored. Now, to the interesting stuff, the international routes. First, let's explore from the pre-Biden administration. So the original love triangle was between Trump, Trudeau, and Enrique Peña Nieto. Trump obviously loved him, and that's why he was always talking about building a wall to Mexico, because he wanted to get Nieto's attention, right? But Nieto did not like that. He did not like the way Trump flirted with him, because he knows Trump's sugar baby tendencies, and he said he was not willing to pay for the wall. As we can see here in this tweet read by Nieto, President Donald Trump, no, Mexico will never pay for a wall. Not now, not ever. Sincerely, Mexico, all of us. And that's why in old pictures like these, you will see so much distance between the two of them. These days, Trump is really touchy with his haramis, but with Nieto, they were sitting at least 4 feet apart. This is because this was Trump's first attempt at international riz, and he was really bad at it. Now, the second part of the love triangle was Trudeau. At first, Trump and Trudeau had a love relationship, but that quickly soured. They just honestly started hating each other until Trudeau got replaced with his successor, Carney. Trump would say stuff like, "It was a pleasure to have dinner the other night with Governor Justin Trudeau of the great state of Canada. I look forward to seeing the governor again soon so that we may continue our in-depth talks on tariffs and trade, the results of which will be truly spectacular for all. Please explain to Governor Trudeau of Canada that when he puts on a retaliatory tariff on the US, our reciprocal tariff will immediately increase by a like amount." Trudeau is truthfully the Prime Minister of Canada, but Trump keeps calling him governor because Trump wants to make Canada the 51st state of the United States of America. So, to piss off Trudeau because they don't have a great relationship, he keeps calling him governor. And this made Trudeau really mad. But they were able to put aside their differences for long enough to sign an agreement between all of the love triangles. So that's Nieto here, Trump here, and Trudeau here. And they all signed an agreement, which is basically NAFTA, but renamed into the US-Mexico-Canada agreement. But that doesn't matter. Here's them resolving the love triangle. This leads into Canada's successor, Carney. And Carney and Trump are kind of in a weird spot right now, because at first, Trump felt this way about Carney.
I'll go back. I'm glad you upgraded me to president.
Oh, did I say? Great stuff.
It's good. I started.
At least I didn't say that.
But then Carney made an ad which featured Ronald Reagan talking about tariffs, and Trump said this: "The Ronald Reagan Foundation has just announced that Canada has fraudulently used an advertisement which is fake, featuring Ronald Reagan speaking negatively about tariffs." The ad was for $75 million. They only did this to interfere with the decision of the U.S. Supreme Court and other courts. Tariffs are very important to the national security and economy of the USA. Based on their egregious behavior, all trade negotiations with Canada are hereby terminated. Thank you for attention to this matter, President DJT. So Trump was very, very angry. So right now, I think it's safe to assume Trump hates Carney. Recently in the news, Trump was saying that he would resolve this with Trump when it resolves. So I would say that Carney is on neutral to friendly terms with Trump, but we're gonna say that it's neutral because that makes more sense. Okay. Are you following? Let me start denoting these. So this is the domestic route love triangle. This is love triangle 1. And now we're gonna get love triangle 2. Kim Jong-un and Vladimir Putin. So everybody knows that Donald Trump loves Kim Jong-un. Roll the clips.
Well, I have very good relationships with Kim Jong-un. A lot of people would say, "Oh, that's terrible." No, it's good. Someday I'll see him. I look forward to seeing him. He was very good with me. I know him better than you do. I know him better than anybody, almost.
But the thing with Kim Jong-un is kind of shy. So Kim Jong-un right now is like friends to neutral with Trump. Now, everybody knows that Kim Jong-un and Putin are BFFs. But Putin and Trump have kind of a different relationship. They have an on and off relationship. So sometimes Putin can be very sweet.
Thank you very much, Vladimir.
Next time in Moscow.
like when he asked Trump to come over to Moscow next time. However, apparently in the Alaska summit, they had a fight. But now that Zelensky is coming into the picture, they're not having a fight anymore. So for Donald Trump and Putin, it's kind of a love-hate relationship. I think it's very complicated. But this second love triangle heralded the addition of a new player. Somebody that Trump had talked about since the pre-Biden era and into the post-Biden era, Xi Jinping, the president of China. Now, while Vladimir Putin was the cold Duke of the North route, Xi Jinping is the harem rival route. So Xi Jinping is Trump's core love rival because he has built this imperial harem where he brought leaders like Putin, like Kim Jong-un, like Modi, all to meet with him. People that Trump has had trouble meeting with. And so they had this complicated love-hate relationship at first. But after meeting him, I think that Trump has really warmed up to him. So much that he said something like this. That he had a very good telephone call with President Xi, and he said, "Our relationship with China is extremely strong. This call was a follow-up to our highly successful meeting in South Korea 3 weeks ago. Highly successful meeting, extremely strong, incredibly positive language. President Xi invited me to visit Beijing in April, which I accepted, and I reciprocated, where he will be my guest for a state visit in the US later in the year. They're gonna meet each other. They're gonna meet each other's families, each other's countries." We agree that it is important that we communicate often because they're in a long distance relationship and communication matters the most, which I look forward to doing. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And then as you can see, he signed his name in all caps, which means that he's very excited. You can go back and look at all the other screenshots I've shown you. He very rarely does that unless he is excited, which implies that they might have a soulmate relationship. But because it's so long distance, it's hard to build up the same banter that he and Biden had, which is why he still talks about Biden to this day, because he can't get rid of that hole in his heart. For now, they love each other. Now, obviously, Xi Jinping also has connections to Modi, who loves him, because Modi is still vying for Empress Consort, and with Putin, who's also vying for Empress Consort, and with Kim Jong-un, who's also vying for Empress Consort. So as you can see, Xi Jinping also has his own little harem going on with these leaders that Trump loves the most. Modi and Trump have, I think, a neutral relationship at the moment, because while there was that whole tariff thing going on, I don't think they really have anything else going on right now. Next, Love Triangle 3. Netanyahu, Khamenei, and Trump. Obviously, Netanyahu loves Trump. They love each other. And if you don't believe me, here's a clip.
Hey, I have an idea. Mr. President, why don't you give him a pardon?
So Trump wants Netanyahu to be pardoned for his war crimes. Trump would not do this if he did not love Netanyahu, okay? Now, Khamenei, on the other hand, Khamenei and Trump have a jilted relationship. And I'm not gonna read all that, but Trump says this. This occurs right after Trump bombs the Iranian nuclear sites, which are supposed to have the nuclear weapons. However, apparently those weapons have been removed because Trump told Khamenei prior, ahead of time, that they were gonna bomb that area. Why would he do that if he did not secretly like Khamenei? I don't know. Afterwards, when Khamenei and Netanyahu broke the peace treaty that he brokered between them, Trump said, "I saved him from a very ugly and ignominious death, and he does not have to say, 'Thank you, President Trump.'" This is him admitting that he saved Khamenei. But he's mad because Khamenei did not give him any honey afterwards. So they used to have a loving relationship, but I think they've moved on to hate. And obviously, Khamenei and Netanyahu hate each other. That's Love Triangle 3. Very simple yaoi. Now, we move on to Love Triangle 4. It's getting a little bit more complicated. Bolsonaro and Lula. Obviously, Bolsonaro and Lula have a love-hate relationship and have had one for a while. And here's the thing. Everybody thinks that Trump loved Bolsonaro, but the truth is, Trump never loved Bolsonaro. He was only ever using him to make Lula jealous, because the truth is, Trump loved Lula, but he failed Lula's route. So Trump loves Lula, but Lula does not love Trump. Lula is neutral to Trump. Meanwhile, Bolsonaro loves Trump, but Trump is neutral to him. That's why when Trump heard that he was going to prison, he didn't care that much. He just said, "Oh, that's too bad." So this one is a triangle of unrequited love all around. Bolsonaro loves Trump, but Trump doesn't love him back. Trump loves Lula, but Lula doesn't love him back. And meanwhile, Lula and Bolsonaro have a weird, complicated love-hate relationship going on. And here's some proof. Trump is sitting very far apart from Lula, same thing as in the beginning with Nieto. They're like 6 feet apart because Trump is failing this route. Trump only ever sits this far apart from routes he fails. Here are some clips of Trump talking about Lula.
He liked me, I liked him. We had excellent chemistry.
See, he likes him a lot. Meanwhile, for Bolsonaro, this is how he feels.
Sir, are you willing about the president being arrested today? What? Any comment about the former Brazilian president being arrested today?
No, I don't know anything about it. I haven't heard it.
Mr. President, are you willing?
I didn't hear. Is that what happened?
Yes, there's a citation.
That's too bad.
And do you have any thoughts?
That's too bad. No, I just think it's too bad.
Trump does not really care about him the way he cares about what Lula thinks of him. So this is love triangle number 4. One thing about the love triangle is that Lula and Macron are married. And this is a confirmed route because Macron says this. Some people compared the images from my visit to Brazil to those of a wedding. And I say to them, it was a wedding! France loves Brazil, and Brazil loves France. And Macron said it. I didn't say it. Macron said it. And Macron and Trump have this thing going on. Now, Macron is touchy with everybody, but he does not shy away from Trump like some other leaders might do. Trump is gripping him by the hand, and then he pulls him away, and they walk away hand in hand. And if you look here, Trump has a huge grin on his face. A huge grin, not as big as when he was with Mamdani, but this is a very positive grin. And Macron also has a grin on his face, very positive grin. He's happy to be being led away. Here you can see what I mean by Trump is an omega, but he likes to act like an alpha. When he acts like an alpha, he can get the alphas and the omegas, and that is good for him because he can get whoever he wants. The thing is, it's not really working out in his favor because he's not getting whoever he wants. But to some extent, the omega pretending to be an alpha strategy works. So Macron and Trump seem to love each other. But Macron loves everybody. Now we move on to Love Triangle 5, which includes one of our members from Love Triangle 2, Putin, Zelensky, and Trump. Putin and Zelensky hate each other. Now we know that Trump and Putin have a love-hate relationship. Zelensky and Trump, he loves Zelensky a little bit more distantly. At one point, Trump loved him, and he told him that Zelensky could get all of his land back from Putin. But he changed his mind as soon as he talked to Putin. Every time he says something to Zelensky, Putin comes and ruins it. They're kind of in a neutral love situation where it's not necessarily hate, but it's not necessarily love either. It's masquerading as love. This is love triangle number 5. And let me show you some examples. Here is something that Trump tweeted about Zelensky. It began long before I took office for a second term during the sleepy Joe Biden administration, during the Biden era. Now, this is Trump bringing up Biden again 2 days ago, but I digress. Ukraine leadership, talking about Zelensky here, has expressed zero gratitude for our efforts. You can say that Trump hates Zelensky here, but I don't think he does. I think he's just lashing out in jealousy because none of his harems are going right, and even Zelensky is not going right, and so the closest thing he can lash out to is Zelensky. Overall, this love triangle is not going well for anybody. Now, Zelensky has some friends. Macron and Zelensky are friends with benefits. We know this because Macron winks at everybody, but he is always also winking at Zelensky. And not only that, but they hold regular phone calls. So I would say they're friends lovers. Also has a few other friends who went and visited him during his date with Trump. This includes Stubb, the president of Finland, Merz, the German chancellor, Meloni, the Italy PM, and Mark Rutte, who's the Secretary General of NATO. Now here are their relations to Trump. These are going to be very fast, and I'll show you the clips right after. Trump loves Stubb.
He's a tall guy. Good looking. You look better than I've ever seen you look. You're a young, powerful man.
Stubb is neutral to Trump. Trump loves Merz.
You look great with your tan. Where'd you get that tan?
Merz is neutral to Trump. Trump loves Mark Rutte.
Hi, Mark. Mark Rutte. Fantastic job. Thank you very much, Mark. Mark is head of NATO.
And Mark Rutte loves Trump.
And then Daddy has to sometimes use strong language to
You have
get
to
us
use
stopped.
strong language. Every once in a while, you have.
Now, Meloni is our in-game Fujoshi. She and Merz are friends, and she tries to convince Merz that he and Trump are meant to be together. Next, we are going to explore our friends to lovers routes. Milei, the Argentinian president, and Trump are friends to lovers. And you can see in this clip where Trump is saying he won't send money to Argentina if Milei does not win the election.
So we would not be generous with Argentina if that happened. If he loses, we are not going to be generous with Argentina.
Trump is also friends to lovers with Albanese, who is the Australian PM. And you can see it in this clip where Trump talks about how committed they are.
There's never been any games. We're strongly committed. And there are some games with other countries.
But finally, one of our newer routes, Trump and Anwar Ibrahim, who is the PM of Malaysia, are a tentative love. Trump is kind of being a bad boy when he meets with him. He's making him break rules. I think Ibrahim kind of likes that rush, which makes him smitten with Trump. So I'll say love to neutral. Okay, now that we are getting back into Asia, let's talk about political Yuri. So Trump and Sanae Takaichi are best friends, right? Obviously, because Takaichi is into political Yuri. And Takaichi's mentor is Shinzo Abe, who was Trump's old fling, and they loved each other because Abe stayed by Trump no matter what. Here is Trump and Takaichi as best friends. She's obviously Yuri. And now here's Trump and Shinzo Abe, who are on the golf course together. And as you can see, they're matching colors. You know, he's wearing blue with stripes like an American. He's wearing all white, like how the Japanese flag's background is all white. They're like matching each other, you know? And then he's wearing white pants, he's wearing black pants. It's very obvious that they had a fling. But after Shinzo Abe was assassinated, the only comfort he could find was in the girl that Abe mentored, who Trump is now best friends with for the Yuri. And together, they make a Yuri, Yaoi, harem dream team. Next in Asia, our sixth love triangle, the two Koreas, Trump's bias, Lee Jae-myung, and Trump's bias wrecker, Kim Jong-un. Kim feels neutral to friends to Trump, and Trump loves Kim Jong-un. Opposingly, Trump and Lee Jae-myung both love each other. That's why Lee Jae-myung gave Trump something fit for royalty. This crown. Look how happy Trump is about it. He's like, wow, something fit for a queen like me, an Omega queen like me. That's him, by the way. Kim Jong-un and Lee Jae-myung do not like each other. This is love triangle number 6. Okay, you guys, still with me? We got one more. We got the Middle East DLC and then an extra edition. Okay, Middle East DLC first. Mohammed bin Salman. Now, Mohammed bin Salman is the crown prince of Saudi Arabia. This is our royalty route. And they have a love relationship. And you can tell because of this meeting where Trump says this.
By formally designating Saudi Arabia as a major non-NATO ally.
Next, we have Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, who is the Emir of Qatar. And he gave Trump a giant Boeing jet present. If that's not a mutual love, I don't know what is. So I feel like we can say that is a mutual love. And Trump said this about accepting the jet.
I think that was a very nice gesture. Now, I could be a stupid person and say, oh, no, we don't want a free plane. We give free things out. We'll take one, too.
Next, Ahmed al-Shara, who is the Syrian president. Trump described him as a young, attractive guy. Roll the clip.
How did you find the Syrian president?
Right. I think very good. Young, attractive guy, tough guy.
I'm not sure if this is mutual love, though. So for now, I will say that he is neutral. But Trump obviously loves him. Next, the president of Turkey, Erdogan. Trump says this about him.
He's a tough cookie, but he's been my friend. And every time I've ever needed him, he's been there for me. So I just want to thank President Erdogan.
He has always been there for him. If this is not mutual love, then none of these routes are correct. Next, the president of Egypt, El Sisi. Trump says this about him.
During the campaign against crooked Hillary Clinton, have you heard of her? So I went up to meet him first, and we liked each other so much that she waited for about an hour and a half. And I think your meeting lasted about 2 minutes with her. So I always remembered that. But that was our first meeting. We had great chemistry together. And he's a fantastic man.
And he said that he believed Trump deserved the Nobel Peace Prize. Mutual love. So overall, Trump actually had great success in the Middle East DLC, which finishes out our entire map of all the political leaders, except for one person, a new addition that I had to add in last minute just today, Cristiano Ronaldo. Trump obviously loves him. But he is confirmed to be married to Georgina Rodriguez, who he is using as a buffer when he meets with Trump. So I wouldn't say he hates Trump, but I think he is neutral to Trump because he does not want to date him. And that is our athlete star soccer player route. And with that, that is the entire political Yaoi dating sim love pairing master diagram with evidence and explanations. Now that you're all caught up, we can continue political Yaoi like normal. So thank you so much for 200k, Lumas. We couldn't have gone this far in political Yaoi without you guys. I can't wait to make the diagram even more convoluted. Okay, I'll see you. I love you guys. Bye. XOXO. Bye, Lumas.